Another promise pushed another day. They say the rules are written clear, but the doors stay locked up tight. We all afraid, we pay the price. Then they tell us wait in line. Wait for the docket, wait for the call, wait for the people who don't hold at all. Make it real, make it real, make it right, make it right. No more hiding records, no more paper rights. 489 CFR 371.3. The law already says, show the records we can see.
Carrier freight bill, money paid, they do. The records already exist, so I hide them from you. Since the old ICC days, this fight's been on the page. But all they wanted was just a promise in a cage.
Wait for the agenda, wait for the plan, wait while the system.
But guess what, kid man?
Make it real, make it real, make it right, make it right. No more hiding records, no more paper rights. 489 CFR 371.3. The law already says, show the records we can see. This ain't about.
Welcome in, everyone. And I'm trying to get my co-hosts up. And tonight we have a special guest with us, LANEMetrics, Scott, and Mitchell Ricegraft, Diehard Dills. Let's get Scott in here and Mitchell. Welcome in, gentlemen. How's it going?
Doing
Good.
good. Thanks for having us.
Sorry we're starting a little bit late. StreamYard ended up erasing all my stuff. I had the live set up, everything. It took it out. Yeah. I don't know. It took all my pictures, all my videos, everything out. And I didn't catch it until we were in the back room. But tonight we're letting Scott actually go over Raw Fuel 2.0, his very first app that he actually designed, and then also do an update on the LANEMetrics that we did a few weeks back. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, like you said, Raw Fuel 2.0 was the first app we created. Our tech company is Truck Tech Innovations. And it's a small, simple app, but it's very powerful. It can save you thousands of dollars a year on fuel. It is 100% free to download and use. Anybody can use it. Now, there are a couple of apps out, like such as Mudflat, which does what Raw Fuel does. And the whole idea is that most guys don't realize when you're shopping for fuel across two different state lines, you cannot go by the price you see on the pump or at the sign, on the sign or billboard, whatever. If you've got an app that you're using, and even if it's showing you discounts, those prices include the IFTA fuel tax for that particular state, unless it specifically says that it doesn't include it. That would be like a net price or a raw price. And those are actually the prices that you need to shop for fuel by when you're looking across state lines, because you've got to be able to compare apples to apples. And when you put IFTA on the pump prices, it muddies the waters. You're not able to accurately compare and look at what you're actually paying for the fuel by itself, because what you're paying for the IFTA tax really makes no difference, because the way it works is they look at how many miles you drive for the quarter, they divide it by how many gallons you burn for the quarter, and they get an average mile per gallon. Then they look at how many miles you drove in each state and divide it by that average mile per gallon. And that's how many gallons you burned in each state. Whether you really did or not, that's how they do the math. You know, you might have certain states, like say West Virginia, where it's all mountains, and you may not be getting nearly as much mile per gallon as what your average says, but there's no way to really determine that, not accurately. So they just use the average mile per gallon. This is how many gallons you burnt. And then they look at and say, okay, we're at 20 cents a gallon on IFTA, so you owe us 20 cents a gallon on however many gallons that is. And every state does that. That's why when you file your IFTA report at the end of each quarter, that's what that's doing, is calculating to see how much you actually owe each state. So say you bought most of your fuel in one state, but you did most of your driving in another, and you never bought fuel in that state. Well, the state where you bought all the fuel obviously is the one where you paid all the IFTA tax, but they're not entitled to all of it. They're only entitled to their portion. So that's what IFTA does. It rolls it all together, one lump sum at the end of the quarter, and then it gets divided out. And then they look and they say, okay, this is what you owed each state for the quarter. This was your grand total. You paid in this amount for the quarter, because they look at what states you fueled in, how many gallons you bought, and they multiply it by that state's IFTA tax. And then they know how much you've already paid in. It's almost as if it's kind of an escrow account that gets escrow back. And then at the end of the quarter, it gets divvied up and split amongst all the states. Everybody gets what they're owed. And where that comes into play, you're either going to pay more and send IFTA a check for the difference, or if you bought in a state where the tax was high and you burned most of the fuel in a state where the tax was low, then you're probably going to get a refund. But where a lot of people go wrong with the refund is they think they can break even or get a refund, they've somehow won the game, that they're getting ahead or getting over on somebody. And that's not the case, because you're going to pay exactly the same for the quarter, whether you pay it in at the pump as you go or you write them a check at the end of the quarter. It's exactly the same. So if you're getting a refund, you're not really getting a refund. You're just getting back the portion that you already overpaid when you were buying it at the pump. So that's part of that really confuses people. And then, like I say, when you get back to looking at it in different states, the whole goal is you want the cheapest fuel, not the cheapest fuel with the tax. And if you got one state that's got 20 cents a gallon tax, and then a state next to it, and you're looking at it and trying to say, well, do I fuel here? Do I wait and go over there? It may look cheaper at the pump, but it may be a lot higher, or it may be a lot less. You have to subtract the IFTA from that state, and then the IFTA from the state you're in, from the pump you're looking at there, and then you're comparing apples to apples. And wherever that's cheapest, that's where you buy. So I've got a little slideshow here that I put together. If Chris wants to bring it up, it'd probably be a lot easier for people to understand if we have something visual here to look at. I've actually explained this to a guy that's a bull hauler, and he has 5 or 6 trucks. And he told me within about 2 months, he estimated that he had already saved $2,000 or $3,000 on fuel by starting to use this method.
Yeah, I'll bring it up right now.
Now, will this app work for like we can buy fuel at any Pilot Flying J that we want to in the country? So does that, and with our discount, we get a discount. Now, will this work the same with that discount?
Yep, because any discount you're looking at, it still has the IFTA rolled in it, unless it specifically says it's a net fuel price or a raw fuel price. If it's a net or a raw, then it's already got the IFTA subtracted out of it. But generally speaking, it won't have that subtracted.
Okay.
And just as an example, I used Illinois, Indiana, and Missouri, and I set the pump price the same at $5.59 in each state. And you can see for yourself the difference. It's a pretty good spread. It's about a 44-cent spread on what you're actually paying for the fuel. And of course, in this scenario, this example, Illinois is the cheapest because Illinois has the highest tax of 74 cents. But you're looking at $4.85 for the fuel versus $5.29 for the fuel. And where it gets complicated is once you start looking at different pump prices, then it gets a little more misleading. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here on the next slide. For example, let's say, everybody thinks, well, Illinois is the highest, so I'll go there and fuel, has the highest fuel tax. That may work sometimes, but not always. And then if you're just buying like you buy, say, like if you're in your personal vehicle, and that's how most people shop, they'll look at whatever their cost is, and they say, well, it's 20 cents cheaper to go here, I'll go here. But it's different because when you've got IFTA involved in it, say Missouri, if you was looking at the pump price of $5.35 and you're sitting in Illinois and it's $5.59, most people's first instinct is, I'm going to Missouri and fueling for $5.35 and I'll save 24 cents a gallon. But once you subtract the IFTA out and look at what you're actually paying for the fuel, if you do that, you only going to pay $5.35 at the pump in Missouri, but you just paid 20 cents a gallon too much for the fuel. And that is where most people screw up right there. They go by the pump price and they don't realize the difference in the spread of how much IFTA throws everything off. That's where I say it muddies the waters because we're not looking at apples to apples when you're looking at the pump prices. You're only looking at apples to apples once you subtract the IFTA for both of those states, and then you see what the raw price is. And like I say, that's the only price that matters because you're going to pay the same for the IFTA to each state, regardless where you buy the fuel.
Right. So, yeah, this could actually save a lot of owner operators and even small companies or even large companies a lot of money.
Right. And there's a lot of big carriers, mega carriers and things that I've heard stories about where they've got somebody in charge of fuel stops and they'll actually send them something and say, I want you to fuel here. Well, part of that could be because of the certain discounts, bulk discounts that carrier is getting at certain locations. But then part of it can also be because of this, because they know they're already looking and they know, okay, I don't want him to fuel in Missouri. I want him to wait and fuel in Illinois because it's actually 20 cents a gallon cheaper.
Right.
And
would this be the reason why some of these companies? Well, no, I don't think it would be. I mean, why would a company have you drive over to a fuel stop and put in 50 gallons if the fuel's that cheap compared to the next two states they're going to be going through?
Right. Yeah, that's hard to say there. Everybody's got their own reasoning and logic for doing things like that. Unless they know you don't have, like, let's say on slide 2 here, let's say you're in Missouri and they know you don't have enough fuel to get to Illinois. They might have you just put on 20 or 30 gallons in Missouri and then go to Illinois and fill up where it's 20 cents a gallon cheaper.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Either that or they're just playing the IFTA game.
Right.
Having you buy enough miles in that state to cover the tax.
Right. And then, of course, there's a chance, too, that they have a better deal, a better price at certain locations than they do others. It's hard to say on exact reasoning, but this probably plays a big part in it more times than most people realize.
But like for a small company that has like 20, 30 trucks, 10 trucks, 40 trucks, and if they would use this app, even though they're getting a discount at like Pilot, Petro, whichever deal they got set up on their CommData, because I know every company doesn't have the same deal on a discount, this
Right.
would benefit them to use that along, even though you can only fuel at Petros or TAs. Would this benefit them to use that even
Yep.
with
Absolutely.
that discount?
Absolutely. If they're just letting their drivers choose the cheapest place that they need to fuel according to the pump prices, I can guarantee you they're losing a lot of money that's because of not doing it this way. And like I say, you're talking about, $2, $3, $4,000 per year per truck. So if you got 50 trucks, that adds up to a whole lot of money real quick. And then on this slide here, a lot of people have said, well, I know Illinois is high. I know Pennsylvania is high. So I just always wait and fuel when I get in Illinois or when I get in Pennsylvania. And that's a flawed way of looking at it. They may be getting it right sometimes, like in the example of Missouri versus Illinois. But then there's going to be times when that doesn't work either because they're not actually doing the math to see and compare apples to apples. They're just using a rule of thumb that, well, Illinois is high, so I'll just go there, and then I don't have to pay no taxes at the end of the quarter. There again, that's not the goal. Whether you pay or pay taxes or get a refund, that makes no difference. It's going to be the same at the end of the quarter regardless. And when you do that and you're comparing it against Indiana, like in this example, I've got Illinois set at 559 and Indiana set at where we go? Set at 526. And you're thinking, well, I know Indiana's cheaper at the pump, but I know Illinois has a high fuel tax. So I'm going to wait and go to Illinois and fuel, and then I'm going to get over on somebody. Well, if you look at this, you didn't get over on anybody but yourself. You should have bought it in Indiana because it was really $4.65. You waited and went to Illinois where the tax was higher, but you paid $4.85 for it. So you still paid 20 cents a gallon too much for it, even though you went to Illinois where the tax was higher. So that backfired. There's
Now,
only
I
one
thought
right way to do
Indiana
it.
was one of those double dipping states like Oregon.
They used to be a long time ago. It's probably been 5, 6, 7 years ago. They did away with their fuel surcharge. They used to have the pump price would have the actual IFTA tax, and then they had a fuel surcharge tacked on it extra that wasn't included in the pump price. Nowadays, there's only 2 states left that do that. That's Kentucky and Virginia. And in our other app, LANEMetrics, we actually account for all of that too when you're running through.
Oregon doesn't do that anymore?
Oregon, unless you are a carrier based in Oregon, you have to get a permit to go through Oregon. And part of that permit is a fuel permit. So you can buy fuel in Oregon with that permit, but they don't share it with IFTA.
Okay, yeah, because the last time we went to Oregon, I didn't buy any fuel in Oregon. I just went in and out, and in and out, and in and out, and that was it. I ain't buying fuel in Oregon.
Yep. That's the best way to do that because any fuel you buy in Oregon, you're just giving it to them. They don't participate as far as sharing it with the other states in IFTA. So if you only ran 50 miles in Oregon, but you filled up and put 100 gallons on, you just gave them all that money for that fuel. And they're not going to share it and divvy it up with the other states. So, yeah, you did that right for sure. I wouldn't, if you have to buy fuel, just buy just enough to cover the miles you've run in there and get back out. And then fill up once you're out of Oregon. Yeah, we don't even have Oregon included. We have a map for this app, call it a heat map, which is here. And we don't even include Oregon in it, and that's exactly why. Remember years ago, you used to have an Oregon license plate even to go into Oregon. They didn't even participate in IRP at all. You used to have a red license plate. You had to have a red Oregon plate to go into Oregon.
Yeah, I remember seeing trucks with that on it. And
yeah,
back long time ago. When I started driving, we still had bingo cards.
Right.
Mhm.
What about New Mexico? I know New Mexico was not in the pot for the IFTA program.
Yeah, they are now. Yeah,
Okay.
Oregon's
Yeah, they're part of the if New Mexico is part of the IFTA, but you still have to get a separate permit to go through there.
if you don't, you're talking about the weight distance tax. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you don't have a permanent account set up, weight distance for New Mexico, you got to get a permit. Yeah.
but they
And
don't have a surcharge like Kentucky or Virginia.
right. And then there again, all you have New Mexico, New York, Kentucky, Connecticut, and what's the other one? There's one more I can't think of it off the top of my head where you do have weight distance. Oh, well, Oregon, but it's kind of not really a weight distance, it's a trip permit. It's like
Yeah.
a fuel and a weight distance all tied together as a trip permit. It's confusing, but the whole idea of that is on our other app. This is Raw Fuel 2.0 where we're doing these calculations for you. Now, in the other app, LANEMetrics, we actually handle every bit of that automatically. When you set that app up, you tell us if you have a permanent account or not in any of those weight distance states. If you do, we calculate your mileage according to the tax rate for a permanent account. And if you don't, then if there is a temporary permit fee, or if it's a permit and mileage, we calculate all that automatically according to what kind of account you got. So if you don't ever run through New Mexico and you're going to have to get a temporary permit and you route a lane going through there, it'll automatically add a temporary permit plus all the mileage that you're going to run based on their permitted mileage rate, which is different. It's quite a bit more than what it is for a permanent account rate.
Now, can you put in like last week we loaded in Utah and went all the way to New Hampshire? Can you put in like 9 different states that you're going to go through, and that way you can plan ahead on what states you're going to stop and buy fuel in, or can you only put in like 2 or 3?
This will allow you to compare. Raw Fuel will allow you to compare up to 5 states at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, every time you select a state and enter a pump price and hit calculate, which I can show you here in just a minute on a demo of it, it populates a comparison list so you can see it.
So Scott, when you do that, can you put Kentucky in there along with Indiana and Tennessee, the ones the states that's around there?
Yep.
That way they could see the difference in the surcharge.
Yep, sure can. Now, one other thing I want to point out, we're talking about trying to save money at the pump, but if you're doing this right and you're doing it this way, it can also save you a lot of time, because there's times when it's going to be misleading. Just like this example, if you're in Illinois, saying it's $5.59 a gallon, and you're looking at Missouri and it's $5.15, the natural instinct is, well, I'm just going to grab 20 or 30 gallons here in Illinois, enough to get me over to Missouri, and then I'm going to fill up and I'll be saving. You think you're going to save 44 cents a gallon. But really, if you look, once you do the math, the price is identical. It's $4.85 at both. So there's no reason to have to fuel twice. You're just going to waste 30 minutes going into a truck stop, fighting your way to get in, get stuck at the island, waiting on somebody to move, get out. It's almost impossible to do it anymore nowadays without burning 30 minutes. It's gone. From the time you get off the exit till you get back on the on-ramp, you've wasted 30 minutes at least. So in a case like this, if you use this app, you'd realize that $5.59 and $5.15 are actually the same rate. The fuel's exactly the same cost. So just fill up in Illinois and keep on rolling. You don't have to stop again and get it for $5.15, because it's not a deal. It's the same price.
Yeah, because no matter which way you go, you're going to pay your IFTA tax whether you buy fuel or not.
Exactly. That's exactly it. You're paying the same to every state regardless. It don't matter where you buy it.
One key factor when you're minding IFTA as well is making sure to maximize your fuel economy, because fuel economy is a big saver on your IFTA, from what I know.
Well, overall, it reduces the cost, but there's two ways of looking at that. If you're getting way better fuel mileage, then you're burning less fuel overall anyway. So everything gets reduced, not just the IFTA. Your
Right.
overall fuel cost is reduced too. So, but yeah, that's a fact. Everybody's not paying the same amount in IFTA for every mile they're running,
Right.
because it's not about the mile; it's about the mile per gallon.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got a question here. The 74 cents for Illinois, that's the tax, right?
Yeah, that's the IFTA tax.
Okay, and Missouri's 30 cents. So if you bought, say, 150 gallons in Illinois, but you only ran enough miles to cover 50 gallons, so actually you're coming out and ahead on your IFTA tax, because you got the 74 cents a gallon, is where when you go through Missouri and you bought 150 gallons and then in Illinois, you're actually shortchanging yourself, right?
Well, if you want to look at it that way, if you wanted to get it in Illinois, if it was the same in both here in this example, 485
Yeah,
raw
that's
price
why I brought that up, because they were both
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah, now you could do it. You could buy it in Illinois and pay the 74 cents. Of course, like I say, all you're doing is just depositing that into your IFTA escrow basically until the end of the quarter, and then you have to pay less.
Right. But by Illinois being 74 and Missouri being 30, so you would actually have more money contributing to the state of Missouri, as where if it was the other way around, you had less money contributing to Illinois. You follow me?
Right. Yeah. You're talking about as far as how many gallons you're burning.
Goes.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you bought it all there, then if you bought it all there in Illinois, let's say you bought 100 gallons, you're putting $74 into your IFTA. And if you bought it in Missouri, you're only putting 30 towards it.
Yeah.
So at the end of the quarter, potentially you may end up having to pay more of the difference. It just depends on where you end up running, you know.
Right.
On this one, I can show you. I hope everybody can see it okay.
Yeah.
I did two examples. The way I did this was truck A and truck B, both of them. I know it'll never happen in real world, but for the purposes of explaining IFTA and really making it where people can understand it, both trucks ran exactly 30,000 miles. They did exactly the same route, but just consider it like a clone, almost like you've got two identical trucks doing identical weights, identical routes, identical speed. Everything about them was identical. The only difference was truck A fueled all his fuel in Missouri because he thought he was getting it cheaper, and truck B fueled all his fuel in Illinois. And here's what you come up with. If you buy it all at $5.35 a gallon in Missouri, down at the bottom you can see you ended up still owing $1,107.50 to IFTA. So by the time you write that check, you ended up $27,857 altogether. But truck B, like we were just talking about, he bought all his fuel in Illinois where it was higher, and he ran half of his miles in Missouri where it was cheaper. So even though he paid $27,950 at the pump, then he gets that $1,107 refund, and he only ended up paying $26,872. So there's like $1,000-something difference there. Then it was actually cheaper to buy it all in Illinois, where the tax was higher. Now, that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the fact that the tax was higher in Illinois and it was way cheaper in Missouri. And it doesn't have anything to do with getting a refund because, like I said, that's not the goal. But if you look over to the right, you can see in Illinois at 5.59, when you take that almost 74 cents out, he only paid $4.85 a gallon for the fuel itself. Whereas in Missouri, he paid $5.05 a gallon for the fuel. That's where that over $1,000 was saved, is right there. Because you either bought it in Missouri and you paid $25,275 for the fuel, or you bought it in Illinois and you only paid $24,260 for the fuel. So there's over $1,000 right there just in one quarter. So over a year's time, that's $4,000 just by not knowing this and doing it wrong.
And that's off of one truck. So you get 10 trucks, that's 40 grand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now, what does the calculation look like? Let's say truck B got 1 more mile per gallon than truck A. What do these figures look like?
I'd have to run all the math on that. I did this way, where everything was exact cookie cutter, same mileage, same mile per gallon, everything's identical. So that you can see just by choosing Missouri, where you thought it was cheaper, versus Illinois, where it looked higher, what you actually ended up paying over $1,000 more. Even though you thought you were making out like a bandit, you weren't.
Right.
You know, you thought, man, I'm saving 24 cents a gallon and I burned 5,000 gallons. And that's a lot of money I saved.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Well, what about a state like California, where there's a major gap between the neighboring states? Can you do an example for us? Let's say, I don't know if you have to put the city, but let's say Miraloma versus Buckeye, Arizona. Miraloma, California versus Buckeye, Arizona. Can you work an example like that, please?
Sure. Give me 1 second. I'll get the app up and going here.
Thank you.
We'll have Chris share the screen for us.
Yeah, we was out there in California last week, and shoot, diesel fuel out there was like $6.95. I had sticker shock, and I'm not even paying for the fuel.
Yeah, this is why it's very interesting, because we also know California has a major increase on taxes at the pump. So I'm curious. I believe it's cheaper to buy out of state, but let's see what his application says.
California, what would be your pump price that you want?
It was like $6.95 when I was out there, I think.
Let's put it at 707. That's a real number that I do know.
Okay.
And Buckeye, let's say it's at 545.
You said Arizona?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And 545?
Yeah, let's go with that number.
There you go. California is still about $1 a gallon higher, almost 91 cents a gallon higher.
Yeah, so you save a lot of money. I know, because I just finished doing my taxes here, just for one truck. It was based on 2 trucks, but basically paid $2,600 on taxes here for California. But like you said, right? Like if there's $1 difference, man, when we're fueling up 150 gallons twice a week per truck, that's a lot of money that you're saving, right? So this is very important, why we need to have this application.
Yeah, you'd still obviously you're going to owe California a lot just because their tax is so high, but you're still money ahead by buying it at Arizona, where it's $5.19 a gallon, and then just pay them their tax for sure.
Absolutely. And this is why this is important for us to educators. I know that's the rule of thumb here for us coming out of California. It always been like that. We either direction we go north up to Nevada or east into Arizona. It's the difference is drastic. So we known to fuel out of state, and even though we get penalized with the taxes, at the end of the day, we end up saving thousands. But thank you for that example.
Sure.
And that's why a lot of the companies, like when they run into California, they'll tell you to fill up before you go in. And if you ever do need to get fuel, only get like enough to get out.
Right. That answers Mike's question. Why only 50 gallons? That's what we do. When we must fuel up here, we do 50 gallons and run out.
Nevada was
Yep.
539.9 the other day up there.
You said 539.9. Okay.
Yeah, in Nevada. That was in Prim and also Las Vegas.
So
I'm
at
looking-
539, you're looking at 512.
I got every fuel receipt from the day we started driving this truck up until the last time I fueled. So I'm going back to see what here we go. Tonopah, Arizona at the pilot was 545.9. So he was right, 545.
Right.
Is there another state you want to throw in there, Ignacio?
No, I think California was a very important state because of the gap, right? I think for us that have been running out of here, we known for the years just to fuel outside. But it's very important as for us to see the difference because like how he mentioned, there was not even a close call, man. When you're saving $1 per gallon, that is tremendous. Those are thousands of dollars. I'm gonna say per month. So that's very important for the audience, right, to know, especially from people from California. Those are thousands of dollars just leaving your pocket if you're not educated. So this is why Scott's product is important. Not only do they save us money, but they keep us educated.
Well,
Scott,
you also gotta keep in mind that you're still gonna have to pay those IFTA taxes, so you gotta minus that IFTA tax in those states too from that savings. But you're still saving money.
right? That's
the
what
bottom line.
That's what he said, that it comes down to $1. I'm thinking he had already subtracted the taxes. But Scott, I wanted to ask Scott. So basically, just for the audience to understand this, your application, I want to thank you for us owner operators, right, for coming up with a tool that helps us, right, educate us and helps us run the business a little bit smoother, a little bit more educated. As far as what I can tell with your application here, your application focuses on the taxes, right, throughout the states. The only thing you need to come up with is the difference between point A and point B, and then you put it in there, and it will give you the formula or the answer where it is more convenient for you to fuel. Is that what we're doing here?
Well, the only thing of that is it would have to be a lot more sophisticated and tied in with what you're doing, because everybody gets different prices. You know what I mean? Everybody gets a different discount. Now, as far as just having a heat map where you can see kind of who's high and who's low, so you know when to really be watching, we do have that. And got a legend here that kind of tells you what the different colors mean. And then
I wasn't aware that the IFTA crossed over into Canada
Oh yeah.
like that. So I didn't know how that played into the whole thing.
Yep, it's all with the same thing. Everybody does the same stuff. So you can run into.
But I've never done cross-border transport, so I didn't know.
It all calculates the same. There's no U.S. version and a Canada version. There's just IFTA. And
Yep.
all the
Okay.
That ties up to the NAFTA project, right? It's international trade agreement with Canada and Mexico involved in it, right?
Yeah. Well, now Mexico, they don't participate in IFTA, but all of Canada, the bottom provinces there, 10 or 11 provinces, they do.
Okay.
Then they
Yeah.
do have territories north of that, like Yukon and stuff, that do not. But when you start getting up in there and you start traveling, like trying to go to Alaska, you can get into territories where you have to pay, kind of like Oregon. You got to pay trip permits and things to go through those territories anyway. So that covers that.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
Scott,
interesting.
let's say for somebody like me, a dinosaur, right? I'm not tech savvy. I
Right.
need an application that's friendly for me. There's a lot of owner operators, a lot of freight owners that didn't have proper education, and they don't have the tech savvy like most of the individuals do. So if I was to ask you, Scott, please explain to me, what does your application do in basic terms so I can understand it? How would you explain it?
Well, it allows you to compare apples to apples of what you're actually paying for the fuel by itself by subtracting the IFTA from every state that you plug in here. So you put in a price in the state and you see the raw price, that's what you're really paying for the fuel. And then all you do is look and find out where the cheapest fuel is for which state that you're looking at, and that's where you buy it. You don't worry about the pump price because you're going to pay all that at the end of the quarter regardless.
Thank you for explaining that to us.
And I do have a Canadian one as well. It has all the Canadian provinces here. And then
But like
we've
that's
got,
interesting, like how it would calculate out between, like, if you were running a lot of cross border between the United States and Canada, how does that all factor with the different money price, you know?
exactly. So you got to do two things. You got to convert liters to gallons or gallons to liters. And then you
Right.
have to convert Canadian dollars to US dollars or vice versa. So what we did is we have an integration where Monday through Friday, every day about 4 o'clock, it updates the US Canadian exchange rate. You can see that pop up there at the bottom of the
Oh,
screen.
okay.
4.4171 is that current exchange rate. So for somebody, let's say, that is from Canada and they're coming into the US, let's start that way. And they're wondering, where is it going to really be cheaper? Is it going to be cheaper in British Columbia? And let's just say it's 202 per liter because these are in liters. 202, their raw price is $1.87 a liter. So they want to compare it to, say, Idaho. But Idaho is in US dollars and US gallons. And they're looking at it being 505 a gallon in Idaho. Is $1.89 a Canadian liter, and it's $1.77 raw price in Canadian dollars. So now again, you're comparing apples to apples. You got
Oh, that's pretty cool.
$1.87. The raw price in British Columbia is $1.87. The raw price if you buy it in Idaho is $1.77. So in this case, they would be better off to wait until they crossed the border and came down to Idaho and then bought it.
Okay.
They'd save 10 cents a gallon.
So
That's pretty cool. I wonder, I don't think there's any other app that would probably show you something like that cross border wise like that.
No, and I mean you could do it with a calculator, but there again, you got to go through all the crap to do it.
You got to know
And
what algorithm, yeah, you got to know what formula to put in.
right, you may know the conversion rate from a liter to a gallon, and you may know the conversion rate from the Canadian dollar to the US dollar, but who has time to go and look up, okay, what is the IFTA rate for British Columbia? What's the IFTA rate for Idaho? I mean, it gets complicated. So this just simplifies the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you was to do a calculator, you'd have 27 steps in 30 minutes to do what that app did in 4 steps and took you 13 seconds.
Exactly.
And it works the same and the other way around. Let's say,
Yeah, let's say
there's a
I'm going from South Dakota to Canada.
all right.
And say we're going from South Dakota to Nova Scotia.
In South Dakota, we'll say what, $5.55 a gallon, just for the heck of it.
Yeah, just shits and giggles.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, you're looking at $5.27 for the raw fuel in South Dakota. Now we're going to be going into
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. Okay, and what do you want to call a pump price of what? And keep in mind that's in liters, so
227.
227. Calculate.
I don't even know what their price of fuel is a liter up there in Canada.
Yeah, I
No,
don't
but
either.
it's just to see. Okay.
So for South Dakota, you're at $5.27 a gallon for the raw fuel. If you go to Nova Scotia, you're going to pay $5.64 US dollars per US gallon.
Okay. Also, so that's nice that it works both ways, because I don't even know how many liters it takes to make a gallon. So,
Right.
I'd have to look that up. So I'd have 28 steps to go to figure it out with a calculator.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you something else that this does that is kind of, there again, it's basic math, but this makes it a whole lot quicker.
So let me ask you this: what if you're going from, you do your different states and then going into Canada? Does it calculate that automatically? Like the difference, the interchange?
What do you mean?
So let's say you're starting, you got your US gallons from the liters in Canada, right? But let's say you do like 5 different, fuel stations while going into Canada, like a fuel stop in Canada.
Right.
Will it interchange that way too?
Yeah. Yeah. You can do whatever you want with this. It does the Canadian. We put in the Canadian province and the price per liter, and it just told you what the US dollars per gallon and what it is.
Right. Okay.
So it basically does the same thing from Providence to Providence. It does the same thing from Providence to Providence as it does from state to state in the U.S.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. In Canada, they call them provinces, but that's the same thing as a state for us. It's jurisdictions. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they have a pretty wide spread on some of theirs too. You can tell here on this map. You're looking at Quebec, they're somewhere between 50 and 61 cents, about like Michigan and Indiana, versus somewhere like British Columbia that's a little cheaper. So, if you're looking at going from Vermont, say Vermont to Quebec, that's going to be a big difference. You already know from looking at that map, you better run that one because it's going to make a heck of a difference.
Right.
I'm gonna have to download this app and start using it for and seeing
Why?
how
You're
well
a company driver.
Huh?
Why are you going to save a big company money?
I'm not a big company. My boss man only owns 40 trucks.
That's a big company. That's a mid-sized company. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. I've done it for companies, ones that actually treated me right.
Yeah.
Here's something else.
I've been using it. They want us to only fuel at Love's, so I check it from Love's price to Love's price where I'm driving. So,
and I do have one thing to say for people that don't know where you can get your fuel prices from fuel stop to fuel stop. All you got to do is go to the TA app, the Love's app, the Pilot app. They all tell you what their current fuel price is for the day at every fuel stop in the United States. So
Yeah, actually, there's even a simpler way. Tracker path. It'll give you the pump price.
is that as accurate as each
Not
individual app?
always. Not always, but it's pretty close. Even if they do change it. So Trucker Path does do updates every 24 hours, I think, on their prices.
Right. Well, see, like for us, we're only allowed to do Pilot and Flying J. Loves is second. We do not do TA and Petro. And if we do have to do a TA and Petro, we're limited to like just enough to get your butt to the next place, and that's it. So, like us, you know, all I got to do is go to the Petro app and see what it is in Las Vegas, Nevada, compared to Ellensburg, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and see which is going to be the cheaper. So it's not that difficult. You know, some drivers want to make things difficult than they really are when they're not. So you go to your app, Pilot Flying J, type in the state, bam, there's how much your fuel is. Type it in there, and you're done.
Well,
Yeah.
so a lot of owner operators and independents actually use mudflap as well, and they still show the pump price as well. And I know for a fact they update those every single day.
Yeah, that's what I
get,
do.
they actually get the actual numbers from the fuel stations every single day.
Yeah, that's
So
been working for
mudflap
me.
is actually accurate for sure. Trucker Path updates theirs every 24 or 48 hours, but they're not connected to those stations automatically like mudflap is.
Right. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but Mudflap doesn't give you a discount at every place neither. There are some places where they don't get a discount.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Does it really matter when you're trying to calculate out the IFTA?
Well,
See what
no.
I'm saying? So we're almost at an hour right now, even though we started late.
Let me.
So I wanted to get an update on how well LANEMetrics app is doing, and then also if someone does have a subscription over on with LANEMetrics, is there does it connect the two apps that you have?
No, Raw Fuel is not connected in with LANEMetrics, but it's completely free. You just download it, sign up with your
Right.
email, and you're good to go.
Well, I'm just saying it might be a good idea to do that just so the ones that do subscribe to LANEMetrics, they can actually save, storage space.
Well, what we're looking at doing is, as we build LANEMetrics out, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be free, different tools that'll be free, and we're going to roll Raw Fuel into LANEMetrics as part of a free tier where you just download LANEMetrics and you can access this part here for calculating your fuel, and it'll be under the free part of it. That's why we're not trying to do anything other than that. We're just going to integrate it all together into one app.
Okay. And if you want to bring up LANEMetrics to just kind of do a rundown, like a breakdown on it.
Okay.
Go ahead and do that.
How's LANEMetrics doing? Is it doing pretty good? Can you? Because I'm pretty from your end, you can see how many people you have that use it, can't you?
We've had a whole lot of people sign up so far. We've had a lot of downloads, but then as far as people actually subscribing to it and starting to use it, not as much as we had hoped. Actually, a lot better than what we expected, but not as much as we had hoped, if that makes sense, because we're still not really marketing or doing any advertising or anything for LANEMetrics yet at all. It's just been a few organic posts on social media and things like that, and that's it. And
well, that's still advertising, but marketing.
For no more than what we've done as far as pushing it out and getting in front of people, it's pretty good. And we probably got close to 100 downloads altogether. So
That's actually pretty good.
yeah. It's
Um,
just I think a lot of people struggle with knowing their numbers to be able to go through and onboard some of the stuff, and I think that would be a whole lot easier for them if they would actually go and look at the onboarding video, which walks them through and explains all of it. That would solve a lot of that, I'm thinking.
do you have a link for that video?
Yeah, well, when you first open the app, it pops a window and it tells you that we strongly encourage you to go to your profile settings, and there's links right there in the top of the profile settings. There's 2 links that'll take you to the videos that you need to
Oh,
watch.
okay. So me having the app already and being subscribed to it, I can download that link for that video.
All you got to do is go to your profile settings and click the button. It redirects you straight to the YouTube videos.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I'm thinking about doing like a video on it a little bit,
Uh-huh.
you know, with like the AI clips like I did the last time when you
Right.
were on, and you know, connect that link to it so people can actually watch the video on the LANEMetrics, how LANEMetrics works.
Yep.
Well, yeah, tie it to your YouTube video. See what I'm saying?
Yep. I'm trying to get the LANEMetrics pulled up here. Give me 1 second.
Maybe a good idea, Chris, is for you to look at those videos, because if they're self-explanatory, why come up with something different? So it might be a good
Well, I'm
idea for you to
saying
get into this YouTube video.
tie it to the AI clip that I generate and share out from this live.
Oh, I get you.
That's what I'm saying.
It also helps as a promotional tool as well.
So you should
Yeah.
be able to share that now.
And Wild Child's been watching us this whole time.
Yeah,
We've
I was
actually
talking.
got a few other viewers, but Wild Child did say hi to everyone.
Oh,
That's
okay.
my
Well,
buddy. That's my buddy.
me too. I like Wild. He's good people.
Yeah, he
I
is.
listen to his lives on TikTok.
He also said truck maps and fuel books also shows the pump prices as well.
Or the like the net price or whatever.
Yeah, the pump prices or net
I've
price.
never heard of those two.
Right. Yeah, I know some of them will allow you
I've
to put
heard
in
of fuel
anything.
books, but not truck map.
Some of them will allow you to do that, but most of them require you to have some kind of a fuel card to be able to use them. So
Yeah.
that eliminates a lot of people from being able to put in whatever they want. And even if it's not in your network and it's not showing up on the app, then you don't know.
Right.
That's why we created Raw Fuel, was so anybody can use it with any price. You know, you don't have to have a fuel card. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You just plug in what state, what price you're looking at, the next state, the price you're looking at there, and boom, you know it.
Right.
It bypasses all of that stuff where you end up narrowed down and restricted according to your fuel cards or wherever they work, or where they don't, all that. You're restricted by all that. With ours, you're not.
Right.
I've got Raw Fuel pulled up there if you want to pull it up, Chris.
Yeah, because regardless, and I've seen, so basically it doesn't matter. Like, see, where was I at? There was one truck stop that was like $5.49, and across the street it was $5.29. But if you can if you're only allowed to fuel at the one that's 549, it'll still, I mean, you're still saving money according to that fuel stop. But if your fuel card's opened up and you can get it anywhere, then instead of going to the big TA, you're better off going to the mom and pop across the street.
Yep.
Possibly, like I say, it just depends.
That is a fact. We were loyalty holders for Flying J pilot years since like maybe 15 years ago. And even though we had fuel cards for every truck, their savings were only maybe from 8 to 16 cents per gallon. And when I did this project with Maverick extending the satellite branches, I downloaded the mud flap, and when I did my own investigation for 7 trucks, just going to the Mavericks with their mud flap being offering the discounts, it was estimated for us to save $48,000 in the year. So I did do the study. So you're absolutely right. Just because you have a loyalty card does not mean that you're saving money. You might be wasting money. I haven't seen a Flying J pilot in years. That's how good this projects are, right? When you have somebody like Scott that's thinking about us and our needs, it's very important to do your homework, because that might save you thousands of dollars from the get-go. That's why his tools are very important to use. But yeah, thank you, Mike. That was a good thing that you brought up.
Thank you, Ignacio. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's the whole goal with all of our software, is to try to help the little guy. We're trying to help educate on how it all really works and what you really need to be doing and watching to help control your expenses and how to calculate these rates. It all comes down to education and knowledge. And unfortunately, a lot of guys jumped out into it and don't really know. And it creates a lot of problems for everybody. But like right here on, this is our paywall. Now, when you first download the app, you can onboard, you can set everything up, you can even rate some lanes, and it'll let you do that without doing any of this at first. But then once you come back to it, then you're going to see the paywall. And we kind of do that to let you play around with it and get a feel for it first before you have to commit to anything. And then if you like it, you can pick a year or a month, hit accept, and start your free trial. We do have links to all of our legal conditions and things there. If you ever lose the app or download it, lose your phone, have to get a new one, and you're a paying subscriber, you can hit here at the bottom for restore purchases, and it'll restore your purchase for you and let you back in.
I got a cord, but it's not.
We also have right here is a watch a demo, which is just a quick demo of the app, which, like I was telling Chris, it takes you straight to it. So there it is. It takes you straight to YouTube, and you can watch it. It's all right there. And once you subscribe, which I don't have to actually subscribe to it, I can use a test subscription because I developed it. So I still go in and test things and keep an eye on stuff all the time, and I can bypass all that without actually having to pay. But anyway, here we go. Now, profile settings. This is what we encourage everybody to go look at first. And this is where I was talking about. Rate a lane tutorial and setting up your baseline numbers tutorial. And it takes you straight to the video. And it just walks you through exactly step by step how to do it all. Explains the importance of every number, what every number is used for, what they mean. It's all right there. And that's what we encourage everybody to do, that before they go onboarding and filling everything out. And the simple reason for that is because we made this so it was 100% adaptable. You have to think of LANEMetrics as your own personal software, just like any mega carrier would have. And we're allowing you to take and adapt it 100% to your specific operation. It does exactly what you want it to do. and that is rely solely on your own numbers and your own operation. So it's kind of like the mega carriers. If you had to buy the software they use, it might be $5,000 or $10,000 a month because they have bigger fleets, and yet that software they don't say, okay, well you've only got one truck, we'll let you have it for $100 a month. No, they won't. It's still going to be $5,000 or $10,000 a month. They don't care. So it makes it inaccessible for the little guy. And what we've done is engineered something here that is affordable for the little guy. You don't have to go and spend that kind of money to have access to the same kind of software and calculations that the mega carriers have. Now you've gone on an even playing field. You don't have to worry about all that. So, like doing a load, anybody got one? I'll just let somebody give me an example. I'll put in whatever you want and you can see what it does.
Logan, Utah to Boston, Massachusetts.
All right. We'll say picks up Monday morning, 6 a.m. And then, like I say, you can add up to 30 extra stops on this too.
Delivers on Friday at noon.
All right. We'll say drive in.
New reefer.
Do reefer, okay. And then refrigerated or frozen and
Refrigerated.
okay. Running cycle.
Continuous.
All right. How about weight?
18,000 pounds.
No hazmat?
No.
Okay. We're just gonna go with a national average for fuel for this week.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right here, 5059. That's your national average. And every Tuesday when a new average is released from the EIA, that updates automatically. And do you want to do an offered rate?
$7,823.16.
Okay, we don't do the cents part, but we can do the dollar. 778.23.
Yep.
Okay. We figure if we can get you close enough to be within a few pennies, then probably pretty good shape. All right. Now, of course, this is already the baseline is all set up on my numbers. So your numbers might be different, but you're actually right on the money according to this. A mile base rate of 79.46.26 is what you needed. And somebody that has a higher truck payment or a lower truck payment or what have you, you're going to get different results. But that's what this one come up with what we've got everything set up as. But the thing about it that's amazing, you got your factoring fee, the dispatcher carrier percentage of it off the top is included, all your hidden costs, everything is there.
Hang on, I might go back here and look. Let me see if I was right on the money amount. Yep, that was pretty close. That was actually our load from Logan, Utah over here to just the north side of Boston is where we went. So.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Did you go that way?
We ran pretty much 80 all the way across to 81 and up 84 because it was only 10 miles further.
Right.
And it kept me off the New York Turnpike and majority of the Massachusetts Turnpike.
Right. I would say that's probably the way this routed you then.
Yep, the blue one. Yep.
it routed you the cheapest route already. Because if you look here, your hidden cost with no easy pass tolls would have been about 177.30.
Yeah, that my mom and well, her husband still lives in Milton, Pennsylvania, so I had to stop there. That was another reason why we went across 80.
Right. And then when this example, when we set this up, we didn't say that we had a permanent weight distance account for Connecticut. So you'll notice right here under the hidden expenses, hidden costs, you got a Connecticut alert because they don't give you a temporary permit. You've got to have a permanent permit, a permanent weight distance account to run through Connecticut. So that's letting you know, hey, you're about to go through Connecticut and you're not able to do that.
Oh, wow. I'm pretty sure the company that we're actually leased to has all that stuff.
Right. Just on ours, with the user stuff that we've got set up.
Yeah. So, I mean, as if you know, you can answer the question yes, but if you're not sure, you can leave it as no, so you're aware of that hidden cost.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah,
like we went to Oregon. I'm pretty sure this company has the Oregon paperwork. I just never called them to ask them if they have it. So,
right.
But I'm not buying fuel in Oregon anyhow, even if they did. So.
Anytime I would have to go through Connecticut, I would always charge $500 extra on top of my original rate, just because of that.
Another thing that pulls back is it shows you whether you got an APU weight variance, whether you got a KPRA law, which is your kingpin to rear trailers, axle length or whatever, and then your snow chains. If there's a snow chain law, it tells you that on every state that's in that route that you just ran or that you were going to run. If you're wondering what the snow chain laws are in Connecticut, they're right there.
This tool is
there a length law in Connecticut?
Yep, 43 feet.
Is that kingpin to tandems?
That's to the center of the rear axle.
On the trailer?
Yep.
Oh, well, I'm good on that because we run so light that our tandems are always slid all the way up. So,
right.
Some of the stuff we haul, I could put all 4 pallets over the trailer tandems, and we still wouldn't be overweight.
So this tool that you're providing for us just reminds me, like in Mike's position, right? A lot of these guys, I known a guy from last month that he was trying to get into a lease program, and we know that some of this lease programs are predatory, right? Is it safe to say that this application might help them kind of put the numbers in there and help them get an educated decision whether that lease program is a good thing or not? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it'll absolutely help. That help with like when you go over and when you first start this out, and you plug in your vehicle specs, all your specs of what you're needing, money and all that, all your net pay, you plug everything in and it calculates all your base, everything. It estimates it for the year. Of course, that's an estimate based on current fuel prices, but it'll still show you what you're needing per mile to make the kind of net profit for you and your company that you're wanting to make. And you can automatically tell. All you got to do is ask them, what's your average pay that I'm going to be getting on some of these loads. And if they start saying things that's 20, 30, 80 cents a mile below what you can already look right here and see that you need, you might as well walk away because you're never going to make a profit. You're going to go broke.
Absolutely. And that's why I brought it up, because we know through the history of lease programs that not all of them are honest. and many of them had been in a very dark area with some of these programs. So this is a great tool. This is a great tool for anybody that is listening that is trying to get into a lease program. You know, for what is the amount, Scott? What is your price for per month for this application?
It's $19.99, and it comes
So
with a 14-day free trial. So you can go in, download it, open it, and do all that basic stuff to start out. And then when you actually get to the paywall, when it shows up the next time you open the app, you can pick 14-day free trial, $19.99 a month, and you still got 2 weeks to play with it before you have to commit. Just cancel it by day 13, and you won't pay anything.
and that is a great opportunity for anybody that is trying to get into uh, uh, from a driver to a lease program. Hey, when you invest $20, 40, 80, even 5 months of this application for you to educate yourself, to study it, it might help you to make a decision whether it's a good business that you're trying to transition to or not. So this is a great tool. That's what caught my attention. This tool here for $100 that you can invest in might help you save thousands, if not your lifestyle, just trying to get into one of these predatory programs. Or simply, even if you don't know, like right now, we're in the middle of this economy where, you know, I've seen maybe like 3 months of stability, of consistent growth, maybe balancing out as the market is even now for the carrier versus the shipper or broker. You might want to purchase this product here to help you decide whether it's the right time or not, because a lot of times we might wait too long and then we miss the ship, but also too we might be prematurely jumping to a market not knowing where we at. But this tool here for me, what gets my attention is for $100, invest 5 months into it, study the market, and then get an educated decision whether it's time for you or not. Thank you, Scott, for those answers.
Yeah, $20 a month. I mean, it's going to pay for itself.
Yeah, well, even just the tolls, you know, there's only a couple of apps out there that pull back commercial toll data on routes for you. And they're more expensive than that just to see the tolls. And they don't even do the discounts. And this one, there's 30 or 40 different type of toll transponders. You select which one you have. And if you have an Easy Pass and it's going a route across Pennsylvania on a Pennsylvania turnpike or whatever, it's a 50% discount for Easy Pass. This app shows you that. It only calculates your discounted rate depending on what your toll cost is. So you're not overinflating your cost by looking at just the whole price for the toll. If there's a discount involved, it shows you that. That's what it uses to calculate it. And that
not only that. So, I mean, this would actually help a lot of guys that are leased on, because you could put your dispatching fee in there, the percentage that's going to the carrier, and then actually know if you're actually being profitable or not.
Yep. It depends on how you see the rates on the loads. If you're seeing the full rate of what the carrier is getting, then you can put in what percentage that the carrier is charging you off the top, and it'll calculate it out that way where you see what that rate should be. If they're only showing you or telling you the rate of your percentage, then you just wouldn't fill out anything for the carrier percentage, and it's going to show you what your rate needs to be coming from the carrier after they have their cut.
Right.
Well, one thing that I realized with these apps, you know, that you got, they're really good. It takes all the guesswork out of everything.
Yeah.
As far as what you're saving, how you're saving it, how much this is going to cost, and this and that. We just got to get people to understand that the company that you're leased to, just because they have a fuel discount at Pilot Flying J, doesn't mean by using their discount you're going to save money. No matter what, you're saving money on the discount, but the 2.0 app shows which states you're actually saving in along with the discount.
Exactly.
You know, so a lot of it is trying to get these lease guys, these owner operators, and to realize that you can't always trust your fuel card company. You can't always trust the company that you're leased to. You have to put this stuff in for yourself and find out that it actually, hey, they're wrong. This is actually better, because too many people over the years have fallen to the wayside. Oh, well, my company's they gave me an app. I get 40 cents a discount over here at this TA. And if I go 3 states over, I'm getting 62 cents a gallon. Well, that's irrelevant when the IFTA tax, like you pointed out, in one state might be 30 cents and the other one might be 70 cents, So, we got to change the mindset of some of these drivers and make them realize that there's a lot of good stuff out there that's going to actually help them instead of just putting money in someone's pocket. Like you said, some maps cost $100 a month, $150 a month, or like the ones that the mega companies have is thousands of dollars a month,
Exactly.
And yours is how much did you say? $20, $10?
Yeah, $19.99 a month, or you can buy it for the year for $200. And
okay, I throw away more than $20 a month on freaking Monster drinks.
Right.
And if you buy cigarettes in New York, that's a pack and a half. That's just barely over a pack of cigarettes at $20 a month.
Yep.
Hey, just for the people listening here, when you have a lot of us that have been driving for so long, and a lot of us deep into the business, we would not bring somebody up here just to feed us lies and treacherous ideas. When we bring somebody up here, is because we believe in them and we believe in the product. So you're not going to hear this from a TikTok warrior. You're not going to hear this from your neighbor across the street. You're going to hear it from professionals that done the studies, that done the work, and they came up with real solutions for real problems. So this is what you're hearing today. This is what you're seeing, and this is what we're endorsing as professional drivers out there. We brought Scott here because he has a product that we believe in. We believe that this product can help us and help anybody out there. This is why he's here, because we're endorsing him. We believe in his product. We believe in him. So if he's here with us, that means that there's something that we recommend to every single one of you out there.
Yeah, everybody that I bring onto the show, or Ignacio Moonshine, they are board members of the American Transportation Co-op, and well, Moonshine's a advisor to the board. But anyways, we vet everybody that we bring on to the show. Truckers for Truckers is part of American Transportation Co-op. It's an affiliate of the cooperative. So we vet and make sure that everybody that we bring into the co-op or that deals with the co-op, they're being vetted, they can be trusted, and we do a deep dive on them, a background check, everything. And I've known LANEMetrics for over a year now?
Probably closer to 2.
Yeah, it's been a little over a year now. But yeah, and that's when he had just came out with Raw Fuel 2.0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's been close to 2 years now. Year and a half,
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah, somewhere in there. So
Now
it's somebody that I really trust.
Yeah. Well, and I had somebody kind of throw a little shade on LANEMetrics and questioned somebody once in a TikTok live, and I was watching the chat, and somebody said, "Well, do you really want to trust them with your data?" Well, for one, there's nothing there that anybody couldn't pretty much guess on their own. I mean, everybody's insurance is pretty much in the same range, anywhere from $12 to $25,000 a truck per year. I mean, there's nothing that you're sharing in there that's sensitive data whatsoever. When you sign up with
Right.
it, all we're asking you for is your email and your phone number. That's only for authentication purposes. That's it. Once that
Yeah. And,
authentication layer is done inside our actual database, beyond that, there's nothing associated with your name. There's nothing on email. There's nothing. There's nothing. We don't ask an MC number, a carrier name. We don't want to know. And the reason we don't want to know is because the less we know about you, the less you can try to come back later and say we did something wrong. Because then we can say, how? How did we know who you were? All your stuff is pretty
exactly.
much anonymous. I mean, could we actually do the research and go and figure out who it was? Maybe, but why would we want to do that? We're here to help you. We're not here to sell data, harvest data, or do anything else like that. I was
So,
driving a truck for 28, 20, almost 29 years before I ever started building apps. And I built them because I already knew the real problems that existed, and I wasn't going to be able to find anybody that could solve them unless I did it myself. And I did. And I didn't do it to try to be shady and jerk somebody around or screw them over on the back end. That wasn't the goal at all. And it'll never happen.
and that goes to what I've been saying for probably 2.5, 3 years. We have to build this ourselves. Anything that's going to help us, we have to build ourselves.
Fact.
Not only
And I'll tell you
that,
something else.
we already
There's
have the knowledge of what we actually need, what we operate at, what majority actually operate at. Because I could tell you right now, all owner operators, leased on guys, they're within 25 to 30 cents operational cost.
Yep. If you're doing the math
Different.
right, you're right. You're not that far apart on anything. So,
Yeah.
there's no big secrets, but you need to know how to do it properly. And where the differences come in between you making a profit and staying afloat and losing money is where all those hidden costs for tolls, weight distance taxes, all this different stuff that pops in there that you didn't know because you don't run that route every day and you didn't realize it and you took it at such and such rate. And then you get done, and after you've paid $600 in freaking tolls and everything else, you didn't make crap. Well, if you had this app, that wouldn't have happened.
Right. So let me ask you this. So with the data that goes into your apps, does that stay with your company on your server, or does that get spread out
No, now we're
to
integrated
like
with PC.
Apple or the Apple Store or Google, the Play Store?
No, they don't see any of that. Our back end is our back end. We have an API integration with PC Miler. That's where we get the map and the route layer laid on the map. And that's where we get the total data, and your distance is so accurate for commercial routes. And it also is hazmat sensitive. It's size sensitive. If you got a certain kind of hazmat, it only routes you the way that hazmat can go. So your mileages are right, always. But
Right.
they don't
So
see
the
any of
data
that.
stays
All
in
they-
your server and doesn't leave that server.
Yeah, they don't see anything else other than lat line coordinates. When you make a request a rate of lane, the first thing that happens is it goes to PC Miler, and all they get is the latitude and longitude and the vehicle specs. That's it. They don't see any personal, I want to make 70,000. They don't do that. That's not what they do. They don't calculate any of that. We handle all that in our server in our back end. and we're the
Uh,
only one that have
And
access.
that's why I brought it up because, someone did bring it up in the TikTok live. Well,
Yep.
do you really want to share your data with them? Where's the data going? It's not going
Yeah,
nowhere except on your server.
exactly.
and one
You give
of the
away
other
more
areas,
data going to an online store to buy something, but
What's
they'll
that?
do that without question.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah. They go throw a
Yeah,
credit card in anywhere. And by the
exactly.
way, we don't even see the credit card. For anybody that don't know how that actually works, we integrate our subscription part that allows you to get through that paywall is integrated with Apple and Google subscription API layer. And only Apple and Google are the ones that ever see your credit card information or any of that. We never see
Yep.
any of it. We don't bill you anything. Apple or Google bills you, and we get our share, and that's it. So there's no risk of anything there either because we're isolated 100% from any of the payment part of it.
Right. So the card information stolen, it came from Apple or Google Play,
Right. It didn't
not
have
from
anything
your
to do
server.
with us. We didn't ever see it. Well, I mean,
Right.
obviously, and to go back and reinforce that, obviously, we're not doing it because we never even ask you your name. Have you ever been able to run a credit card with nothing but an email address and a phone number?
Nope.
Nope. There you go.
So
another,
we are at
no-
like an hour and a half, I believe. Yeah,
Yep.
a little over an hour and a half. So anybody else have anything?
yeah,
Any other questions?
well, just a quick note. Even myself, right? Like been out there 37 years. We're kind of stubborn, set in our own ways, and we're creatures of habit. Uh, it's a good reminder for us to check ourselves because just because we did something 20 years ago that worked, as far as taxes, as far as fueling prices, as far as rates, it is very good to check ourselves to be accountable to keep us honest. So I think his application, his tool that he's providing for us, can help us just to keep us accountable and being honest with ourselves running our business. So me as somebody that's been doing things for years, on top of my head, I already know more or less the raise, the fuel prices, the taxes and all that, but we make mistakes. So it's very good to have tools like this to keep us honest and to update ourselves. That's an observation that I saw with this application.
You got anything, Moonshine?
Yeah, I hate technology because some of it is just overwhelming. It's ridiculous. The amount of steps that you got to go through, like to hook your TV up to Wi-Fi, up to a hotspot from your phone. Okay. It's a process sometimes. It's not simple. But that being said, with the way everything's been gone, okay, in order to keep up with your business and to keep things moving in the right direction, you have to bow down to technology and start accepting it in order to stay on the right track and stay profitable nowadays, because without some of this technology, you're going to lose your ass and your ship's going to sink when you could use some of this to your benefit and help you. $20 a month. I mean, that's not bad. I got an app on my phone that was $180 for the year. I use it like twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So, what's $20 a month for LANEMetrics app if it's going to save you? Even if it saves you $50 a month, you're still $40 ahead.
Exactly.
30
And
bucks.
the first time it pulls back a rate where it was a bunch of hidden tolls or wait distance across New Mexico or something that you wasn't thinking about, and then you see,
Nope.
oh my God, that's $350 worth of extra crap I didn't remember. Well, if it just saved you $350, it just paid for itself for almost 2 years the first time you used it.
Yep.
Yep.
And I'm bad about it. I'll be the first one to tell you. We need to embrace technology a little bit more than what we do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like I've already mentioned, I'm a subscriber to LANEMetrics. And I mean the information that has to go in, it's simple. It's like you don't have to be a tech no like you don't have to be knowledgeable on the tech side. It's very simple, very human friendly, because I've even had, to set up like TMS systems for my carrier authority and everything that I used to have. And I still have the TMS system, but I mean, setting that up was a little bit more confusing than what it was to actually set up on LANEMetrics.
The first time we talked about this, I went in there and checked it out. And a lot of the questions that are being asked is stuff that you, as whether you're leasing the truck, you own the truck, the questions that he's asking are things that you should already know. Most of them you should already know. And if you don't know them and you're leasing a truck, your company should be able to tell you those answers without hesitation. If they hesitate to tell you the answers, well, you might want to look into them a little bit closer, because they're hiding something from you.
They're hiding something.
But they're simple questions, drivers. They're simple questions. I mean, what's your insurance? They're all simple questions, things that you should already know. But in order to figure them out, it'd take you an hour sitting down there trying to figure these things out. Well, by then that load's gone. This does it in, what'd you say it does, like as fast as you blink your eyes?
It's 196,000 calculations. It usually does it in about 1.6 seconds. Now, it may take a little longer for it to get back to your phone. It may be 2.5 seconds. But that's only because of signal strength and all that. This the communication time. But the back end itself doing the computing it's almost 200,000 calculations in less than 2 seconds. So you don't have to wait long. And then, say you're going back and forth with a broker. If you're going back and forth with a broker and all, and I need 1,800. Well, I can do 1,750. Well, all you gotta do is hit recalculate 1,750, and it takes less than a second for it to recalculate.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, that's quick. I mean,
yeah, it's lightning fast. Yeah.
Is everybody good to end?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, you good, Scott?
I'm good. If I was any better, I'd be twins.
All right. All right. Well, thanks for coming in, everyone. And Wild Child did have a couple other comments. No other app that I've seen does this because there isn't one out there. I can tell you right now.
There's really not. And
because I've searched for it and it's not out there. The big companies have it. They're in control of it, but they don't offer it to us because they know we can't afford it. They wouldn't.
Well, and the way it reverse engineers everything from your net profit goals, it's actually it's a financial planner that reverse engineers your net profit goals for the year and then rolls all that in along with all the hidden expenses and everything else that you could ever dream of with any lane. And it comes up with this is your minimum rate you've got to charge to hit your profit goal for the year. And nobody's ever done that before. It's actually a whole different class of software that you can't really exactly put a label on because it's never been done.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there hasn't even been a TMS system that I've found that actually does that. It
No,
just
they
goes
don't.
by all, what you actually put your expenses in, and then it'll calculate it at the end of the year
Yeah,
for your taxes. That's it. It only does the calculations at the end of the year, and then it projects what your operational cost is for the next year.
right. Yep, and
And
we've
then
got a
that's
lot of
going
more
to
big
change as
things
you
planned.
put things into it.
Yeah, we've got
But
a lot more really sophisticated things planned for LANEMetrics that in the works. We're just trying to focus on getting the marketing going and getting it off the ground right now and start generating the interest. And then once we see everybody starting to come on around with it, then we're going to start launching other features of it, and they'll be just as
mhm,
amazing, if not more so, than what we've already done. Because I
right,
tend to think outside the box, and one advantage I have is that I lived it and breathed it my whole life as a trucker, and I know the problems, and I know what I really want to see that nobody shows me. I know what I
right,
want, but nobody does it. And not only do I know what I want and how to do it, I'm the one building it, so I can make it my vision. And then I'm telling you, you've never seen anything like what's coming. If you think that lane rating tool is something, stick around and watch.
fuck around and find out, right?
You said it, I didn't.
But also, so Scott is going to be somewhat of an affiliate. He still has to talk to his business partner to actually uh, make that official. But no matter what, me and Scott talk quite a bit. So we work together still in the background.
Right.
And even American Transportation Co-op, once we get our IT department their software their hardware that they need, we're going to be helping build all these apps as well. And since
Yeah.
LaneMetrics is already out there, guess what? That means American Transportation Co-op doesn't have to do it.
Yeah. Well, there's quite a bit that I've already got pretty well complete. Like I say, we're just drop back focusing on marketing right now and really hoping to make some waves and get things moving. And once we get that part rolling, I'll get in on autopilot. I'm going to drop back and finish developing out these other features. They're pretty close now. I've got a few in final testing stages and a few still middle of development, but we've got big
That's good.
plans, and what's coming is going to be unlike anything anybody's ever seen before.
Right. And same, with what we build over at American Transportation Co-op. So, I mean, stay tuned because things are going to change. But everybody have a good night. Thanks for joining. And remember, we're on every single Saturday, 4 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Mountain, 6 o'clock Central, and 7 o'clock Eastern every Saturday.
Well, guys, I appreciate the kind words, and I really appreciate you guys having me on. And I hope that everybody at least grabs the Raw Fuel app. It's free. Nothing in it for
Right?
me. I just want to help people, man, because odds are most of you are leaving a lot of money on the table.
Yep. I totally agree.
Absolutely.
And I've used that
Thank
Raw
you,
Fuel
Scott.
app before too. It actually, I used it for a company that I was actually driving for, and I've mentioned this before. And after the first month of using it with that company, they actually called me and said, "How are you saving so much more than the other trucks?" And I told them about, LaneMetrics app, Raw Fuel 2.0. They started having the other drivers actually download it and start checking it.
Right.
Nope. Next one. Other way. other way, right there.
Well, they tried to get the drivers to do it. And they couldn't force them to do it, but they actually started looking into, just doing it themselves too. I mean, that company went out of business, but I don't think they ever got it like all the way through to where they were having the drivers stop at certain locations. They were going to work on that just because of them seeing what I was doing with my truck, the truck that I was driving. They seen the big difference. But everybody have a good night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Happy Father's Day.